I just thought I'd do a bit of a off-topic ramble today because basically I just felt like it, and there's been this thing which has kind of like been playing on my mind, not in some kind of negative way or massive like major political way, but on the other hand, it's still playing upon my mind, just like a set of ideas going around my brain, so to speak. And that's the biblical story of David and Goliath. What is it used for? It's used to suggest, overcoming adversity. An analogy for, like, democracy winning over dictatorship, or love winning over hatred and bitterness, or overcoming some personal obstacle, or going through self-development. All very good and very worthy ideas. But it's about two warriors meeting up. Goliath being tall, muscle-bound, powerful, probably capable of ripping your head off with one hand, skilled with the sword. And then you got David. He's a shepherd. Sure, he's maybe doing manual work every day, walking around the estate, herding the sheep maybe, but he's not trained in the same manner as Goliath. So we assume he'll be smaller, built in a more slight way. But he has a sling. That's right, something which could easily be a leather pouch with two pieces of string either side of it. The slingshot in ancient times was the ranged weapon of choice. There were variations upon the theme, of course, but it was just basically the same shepherd sling which was the main ranged weapon. And sure, there were versions of the sling which was a sling on a staff basically, and that provided a little more range, but it was still the ranged weapon of choice. Now think about it. If David was a shepherd and he was going out every single day using his slingshot to help herd the sheep, so the sheep would start, moving along in front of him. Maybe they would stray a bit too far to the left. He would take out his sling, swirl it around, and throw a stone with great force to the left. And that would frighten the sheep and they would get back on track. So in just going through the daily tasks of herding the sheep, he would have built up a great quantity of proficiency and skill with the ranged weapon of choice for the ancient world. And then what about when lunchtime came and he was hungry? Well, then you'd go out into the woods or into the fields and you'd get himself some rabbit, wouldn't he? So he would use it for hunting for small game. He would use it within his work, probably throwing maybe 100 stones with it each and every single day, possibly more. And that's after he spent enough time to be able to get the skills together to be able to throw stones like that, to be able to use it in his day-to-day job. So we got this individual who just so happens to have like a deadly ranged weapon. And then you got Goliath. And Goliath himself, he's only got a sword. He's only up for short range combat. It's Goliath who is naturally in the weaker position. It's not a question of by some, quirk of fate, or by triumphing over adversity, David was able to win. The triumph over adversity here would be if Goliath had won. Because Goliath didn't have the capacity or the skill to fight someone who was a proficient, skilled sling shooter. I mean, this is like two military powers. This is like, the Western world with a nuclear bomb, and Japan. This is it was a battle of that kind of odds, with the odds significantly in favor of David. David was the tough guy there. Alright, he had more ability, so we should really start to see Goliath as being a lamb to the slaughter. He was a badly chosen individual. I mean, whoever put Goliath up against David didn't know what they were doing. Now, am I the first person to spot this? Or have there been other commentators who said, basically no, everyone who's been commenting about the religious aspects of this has got it completely wrong. Everyone who's been commenting about the self-developmental aspects of this has got it completely wrong. I don't think that I can be really the only person who's noticed this. But even then, you know, it's quite an interesting point of discussion though, isn't it?